So I'm going to share I'll share my screen. I always struggle with this part. So 1 second here. I think I just need this. Okay. Well, move back up to the top. All righty. So hello, everybody. Thank you so much for attending. This is our third installment of the poetry class today. What's going on with this guy? There we go. My name is Sanara Clark. I go by Side, keep it short and simple. I'll be your instructor for this class and was the instructor for the previous two poetry classes as well. I'm excited to be here. Doggone it, this thing giving me trouble. I'm excited to be here. A little bit about me. I am currently working full-time as a lead for a catering company. I service the Bellevue and the downtown Seattle area. I also moonlight as a wellness coach, also known as a life coach. And my job with that is to help people reach their true potential. I also really enjoy hobbies. A lot of the hobbies that I love are photography. I love cooking. I'm very fond of making soap and skincare items. I also do paint pouring, which is a epoxy pouring paint based kind of a abstract painting, and then epoxy projects, and of course poetry as well. Although I haven't done very much poetry in my later years, I did a lot when I was much younger. So that's a little bit about me. I wanted to sort of give some review here for people that are new to the poetry class, such as Terry. So what makes a collection of words a poem? So according to Google, a poem is a piece of writing that uses artistic language to convey a feeling, story, or setting. And poems can have many elements, including elements of rhyme, meter, figurative language, form, and diction. And I've got some definitions of those words on our next page. Again, these are the elements of poetry. I've heard a lot of words. Sometimes people use the word elements or tools, but so it's a lot of information out there on the interwebs. This is sort of some basic stuff, but I've also got a list of tools that we can talk about as well. But these are the main elements, something that makes not just a collection of words, but rather a poem. Rhyme and rhyme scheme. So basically what rhymes with what at the end of a line. That refers specifically to the last word of each line, as you're familiar with probably many poems that rhyme. Sometimes every other rhymes, or even AAA, BBB. Then we also talk a lot about meter, and that is the beats of a poem, or sort of the flow, the rhythm of a poem. So if you were to have all of the words muffled and kind of spoke into your hand, and you could kind of hear the beat of it. So not so much about rhyme per se. And then diction, and diction is more talking about the words that you're using, or even the phrases that you're using, and the manner in which they're used. Sometimes you're wanting to create a very specific effect. Sometimes words that you want to use are not the obvious word. And that would refer to diction. So maybe not picking the most obvious word, but one that has some characteristic that you want to bring into the reader's idea or their eye. Also figurative language. So that again refers to wording and maybe not using the most obvious word. Sometimes you can, I think one of the poems that I was looking at this week talked about it might be coming up one of our poems that we're doing today about a swoon, and they were talking about a falling star, but they used the word swoon instead of falling. And I just thought it was brilliant and the perfect use of some figurative language. Yes, you could use the word fall, but why not use a word that gives you a little bit more kind of a fancy feeling in your head? Also form. So that is the actual structure of the poem. Not necessarily talking about the words, but more about how the words are lined out, where there are line breaks, if they're short, if they're long, if there's big spaces in between the sentences. Again, if you were to like blur the words out, what does the actual shape of the poem look like? That's what form refers to. And as I mentioned, elements, other elements of poetry here. Meter, we talked about. Simile, which you would be familiar with. These are like more tools than elements. Simile, you're familiar with, uses the words like or as, rather than metaphor, which says, I am something, or I'm sorry, simile or yes, metaphor. So that would be a implicit comparison between two dissimilar things. Why am I feeling like that's not correct? I think that's not right. I must have made a mistake here. I apologize. Let me just take that out. Metaphor is where you don't use the word like or as. Irony, which would be a situation where there is a contrast between expectation and reality. And then a illusion. You guys remember the song Ironic, probably. That is a perfect definition of what irony is when it rains on your wedding day and you think, oh, how ironic. What a terrible day for it. Allusion, so that is a brief and indirect reference to a poem, a person, place, or thing outside the poem. One common spot where you can see this is in the poem in Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. He talks about Lenore, who is not anyone that's mentioned within the poem. You are kind of expected to understand that this is his wife, his previous wife. She passed away at this point, but he brings her up in the poem. Alliteration, which is very popular in poems. They like to use a recurring consonant or even a vowel over and over and over again. It sort of gives it its own rhythm and brings you back to the point of the word that if there's, for example, an S, there's a lot of times when they're using the S to kind of punctuate the word that they want for you to be paying attention to in the poem. Assonance. So this is similar, this is like a repetition of vowel sound that you'll see usually in two-word pairings. Dumb luck is a good example. That would be the U sound in each. And then squeaky wheel, that would be the E sound in both of those words. So that also gives a kind of a little bit of a rhythm and points the reader to what part of the poem they're wanting you to pay attention to. Juxtaposition, that is placing two contrasting elements together for a contrasting effect. Also very, very popular, and I think we'll be seeing some of that with our poems today. All right, next slide here. So this class, I thought I'd kind of do a deep dive into rhyme. We can always go into the other elements at a later time, but this is the obvious thing. This is sort of what people think about when they're thinking about poems, is rhyming poems. Yes, there's many kinds. You can do free verse. There's different rhyming sequences. Sonnets have a very particular rhyming sequence that they use. But this kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of different common rhyme schemes or how the rhymes lay out within the poem. I was able, when I was looking at Wikipedia yesterday, I was able to count at least 50 different common rhyme schemes. So to me, what this means is anything goes. But there are ones that they go to over and over again. A sonnet, again, is a very specific rhyme scheme. An alternate rhyme is going to have rhyming every other line will rhyme. Also a ballad. So that would be A, B, C, and B. And this is referring to the rhymes at the end of the poem. So that would be one line rhymes with nothing else. The second line rhymes with the fourth line, and the third line also rhymes with nothing else, just to help you to understand. And if you see an X anywhere here, as you'll see a little bit lower, those are unrhymed lines. Again, to add kind of an element of mischief to the creating of a poem, as sometimes you don't have to have them rhyme at all, or just rhyme a little bit, but not all. So the ballad rhyme is A, B, C, B. The ballad is a very specific, it's got 3 kind of paragraphs of 8 lines apiece. That's what when we use the word stanzas, that's what we're talking about, is sort of a paragraph. Followed by a 4-line stanza, so 28 lines total. There's also a Balliol rhyme, Boy Named Sue. I think that's a funny name for a type of rhyming sequence. So that would be A, A, B, C, C, and then the last one is either a B or a D. So the first 2 will rhyme. The third doesn't rhyme with anything unless it rhymes with the last one. And then the following 2 after that rhyme as well. Breath double, again, it's kind of getting more complicated as you're seeing. AXBC, XAXC, AXAB. Again, we're talking about the words that are rhyming at the end, and the X's mean they don't rhyme with anything else. Quatrain, this is a 4-line stanza. And this one really doesn't follow any rhyming pattern or scheme. Anything goes, but these are the ones that are very popular from what I was seeing. So an A, B, C, D would be a free verse. That would be a 4-line poem. None of the lines rhyme with any of the other lines. Pardon me. You can make a quatrain can just be 4 lines, standalone lines, or it can be part of a larger poem, such as a sonnet. So the quatrain would be just the 4 lines in the middle of the sonnet. Limerick, we've all heard of those. I know you remember me with the Nantucket limerick last time, Dana. But that has its very own rhyme scheme as well. That is A, A, B, B, A. Again, a couple more. I didn't want to bore anyone, but here's just a couple more options of different rhyme schemes that are popular. So the couplet, these are 2-line stanzas. So all the ones in the first stanza rhyme, all the ones in the second stanza rhyme with themselves, and on and on and on. So AA, and then BB, CC, DD, and on and on. This isn't necessarily part of the rhyme scheme, but I did want to at least bring it to your minds. A tercet. That is 3 lines of poetry. They do usually follow a poetry scheme, but I mean, at this point, it's just 3 lines. So it could be ABA, it could be ABB, it could be ACA. I mean, it could be a number of different things, but what haiku is an unrhymed tercet. It's just 3 lines of poetry. It does follow its own rhyme scheme, which is there's no rhyming. So that's at least one thing I wanted to mention to you on that. A clear hue, that's AABB. That would be on the simpler end of things. An enclosed rhyme, which they call ABBA. Monorhyme, which is common in Latin and Arabic poems where everything rhymes at the end. So all of the lines on the end are rhyming. An octave, so of course octave speaks to us that it's 8 lines. That would be ABBA, twice over. And this one I really liked a lot too. I was drawn to this one, Ottavia Rima. And that is ABABABCC. Also fun. Alrighty, so I did pick out some fresh poems for today. Some poems that are famous. Oh yes, go ahead, Terry. You had a question?
Yeah, you were speaking a little fast for me, and so I missed the last three. I was just
Sure,
jotting down the names. Could I go back to that?
sure. I pulled them back up for you.
So can you say what a mono rhyme is a little more? I didn't quite understand that.
Sure. So those are all of the words in the poem rhyme. All the last lines rhyme. So in this case, it's A, and it would be just every last line of the poem rhymes with itself.
And then the octave is,
Uh, yep, ABBA. And that's 4 lines specifically. So it would just be ABBA twice over.
mhm. And then
And
what's the difference
Sai,
between that one and the next one?
The Octavia Rima here are not necessarily, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one is also 8 lines, but it's the things that are rhyming at the end that are different. So this is just A B A B A B C C. So every other line rhymes except the last 2. Those are rhyming, rhyme them with themselves, but not with anything else.
Hmm, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure.
so Sai,
Yeah,
going back to that prior slide,
yeah.
when you say AABB, does the first letter have to start with an A or, and I don't get that.
So it doesn't have to, but it's just going in the order in which they show up. So whatever that first rhyme is in the poem is going to be noted with the A. So then the second thing that comes in that is not rhyming with A is going to be labeled a B.
Oh, okay.
For no other reason than they just have to find some way to go through and make the delineation. So the first letters that rhyme will always be the A's. The second letters that rhyme will always be the B's. So
Right,
that
right,
if
right.
that helps
Yes,
you to understand, they
I
wouldn't
thought,
necessarily do CCAA. They would move that CC to be the AA, if you know what I'm saying.
right,
Did that help? It's kind of
right,
hard to explain, but they're just going down the order. It's just a way of us figuring out what rhymes with what, basically. Did that answer that for you, Dana?
right, right.
Okay,
Thanks.
perfect. Yeah, you're welcome. My pleasure. Good question. So I did keep these poems a little on the shorter side of things. There are some very long poems in the world. I bought a book of poetry, and there's one in here. It's the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. It's pages and pages and pages long. I couldn't even believe how long it was. And I'd heard of the poem before, but I'd never like put eyes on it. Oh my word, it's just so long, and it's a really cool looking poem, but so I for these reasons I kept them short. And also to give you a little variety. I don't want to just give you like 2 poems and send you on your merry way. This way you'll have a lot of options as far as poems that we're listening to. So okay, and I can start with our first poem if y'all are ready.
Right.
All right, so this one's called Trees. This is Joyce Kilmer. I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast. A tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray. A tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree. You may be picking up on what the rhyming scheme is here. It's a little bit easier to see now that you got a poem in front of you, maybe, Dana. But you'll
Right.
see A, and again, they're just starting with the first line as a poem are always going to be called A's. These two don't rhyme with anything else in the poem until you get to the very end. So, and I went through and made the rhyming scheme as I was looking at all these yesterday. So the trees poem is, let me pull it back. A, oops, B, C, again, nothing's rhyming with itself yet. D, E, and then back to A, because these words rhyme with the first two lines.
But I don't see any D's in that. Words
No, there's no D's. It just is giving you a way to tell. It's like you might as well just call these ones one, and these ones that rhyme with each other
oh,
two.
there's day.
Yeah. And then these ones rhyme with each other, so they're calling these like the third set of rhymes, right? And I'm just changing it from A, B, C to 1, 2, 3, really. And then on this one here, you'll see this one doesn't rhyme with anything else in the poem, and this one doesn't rhyme with anything else in the poem. But this one, indeed, and I almost slipped my notice when I was writing it down, this one rhymes with the first two lines. So A, C, D, E, and then A. That's what we would call that one. Is that a little bit more helpful to you, Dana?
A little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because they're giving it letters, but if you just substitute the letters with numbers, it may be easier to understand. There's not any A's in the A's and there's not any B's in the B's. But that's a great question. That's a great question. I hadn't even thought of that one. All right, what do you think? You want to try another poem?
Okay.
Okay. This one I believe is longer here. Let's see. All righty. This one I really think is so cute. It's the point of view of a child here, and a sickly one at that, but I think it's awfully adorable. So this is Rudyard Kipling. He's a very famous novelist and poet. He's written some good stuff. I think he wrote like 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea or one of those as well. So he's pretty popular in his day. And you'll have a chance to kind of see the rhyming schemes as they're coming through it as well. Now, there is nothing wrong with me, except I think it's called TB. And that is why I have to lay out in the garden all the day. Our garden is not very wide, and cars go by on either side and make an angry hooty noise that rather startles little boys.
That's cute.
But worst of all is when they take me out in cars that growl and shake, with carabancs so dreadful near, I have to shut my eyes for fear. But when I'm on my back again, I watch the Croydon aeroplane that flies across to France and sings like hitting thick piano strings. When I am strong enough to do the things I'm truly wishful to, I'll never use a car or train, but always have an aeroplane. And just go zooming round and frighten Nursey with the sound, and see the angel side of clouds, and spit on all those motor crowds. Can you help but wonder? That poor kid, he's stuck in the garden. He can't get out of the wheelchair. He's spends a lot of time there, and all he wants to do is be up in the sky and, maybe be the superior one out of all of the boys in the wheelchairs and all of the people in the cars. But if you're in the airplane, you're better off than both of those, I think is what he's thinking. I really think that's a cute poem. Okay, I got another one for you here. This is a short one. This is just one slide for this one. This is Robert Frost. Again with the trees. I didn't even realize that this one's also about trees. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay. Just explaining why it's such a beautiful color, I think, to see out in nature is that it's not to last, right? All the greens can stay a little bit longer, but when nature's first green is gold and the last thing that happens before the leaves fall down, it's kind of a sort of a study in things that were changed, things that change rapidly. We didn't even talk about the rhyming scheme of this one here. I don't know if you're able to pick it up here. So what did I say? Child's Garden. So this one's really actually similar to the first one in the rhyming scheme. AABB, and that's here, AA, but these lines don't rhyme with A and A, right? So they gave it a new name. So B and B, C, C, D, D, our next page here, E, E, F, F, G, G, H, H, I, J, J, and I really wondered if this rhymes with the GG from earlier, because he's rhymed aeroplane twice, but I almost feel like he's saying it two different ways. So it could be considered the G's are rhyming amongst themselves, but I think the way the poem was written, how it reads to me, is that they all just rhyme with the two lines next to it. So the first two, and then the second two rhyme, and then the third two rhyme, and the fourth two rhyme, and the fifth two rhyme, like so and so, all the way through. So that's the rhyme scheme on that one.
And what is TB?
Tuberculosis.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, consumption. You remember how everyone was getting so sick, all those poor little kids. I think my parents' house in Colorado still has what they call a TB room because they could put sunrooms in all of the like turn of the century homes so that
Right.
people that had tuberculosis could be cured because I think the outside air was helping them. But that's why the little boy was outside as well, as they said that was helping with the tuberculosis. Alrighty, so this rhyme scheme here, golden hold rhyme, flower and hour rhyme, leaf and grief rhyme, today and stay rhyme. So that again would be AA, BB, CC, DD. And let's move to our next poem here. So this one is Bright Star by John Keats. Yes, this is the one I think I was speaking of earlier. I think there's some good stuff in here. And I also wanted you to see before we start here, the form on this one. We talked about the different forms that poetry can take. Even without knowing any of the words involved, you see that there is like an indentation or a tab each every other line, right? So it's sort of like a longer line, a shorter line, a longer line, a shorter line. But that's part of the form of the poem and helps to draw the reader's eye and make sort of, what I say, the word, I've lost the word, but it's kind of bringing the reader to the different parts of the poem here. Okay, and I'll start. Bright star, would I were steadfast as thou art, not in lone splendor hung aloft the night, and watching with eternal lids apart, like nature's patient sleepless eremite, the moving waters at their priest-like task of pure ablution round earth's human shores, or gazing on the new soft fallen mask of snow upon the mountains and the moors. No, yet still steadfast, still unchangeable, pillowed upon my fair love's ripening breast, to feel for ever its soft fall and swell, awake for ever in a sweet unrest, still, still to hear her tender taken breath, and so live ever, or else swoon in death. It's kind of a difficult read, that one. And it makes sense in a lot of the poems, especially ones that are from a long time ago, that you kind of have to read it a couple different times to get what maybe their meaning is with these. And you're seeing here, so they're talking about, a bright star. That's kind of what all of the poem is about, is this bright star, and really an ode to the star, right? How beautiful you are, kind of. But this is all about how beautiful it is to be a bright star. And then at the end, if you don't live forever, then you're going to fall and die, right? As stars would here, or else swoon to death. So that was that funny word. They could have used the word fall, but that's such an obvious word. It's more fun and it gives you more of the imagery aspect. You can almost see the star swooning out of the sky in a very dramatic effect, right? That's some of the beauty of using figurative language, is it puts a picture in the reader's mind. Okay. All right, this is a one-pager as well, so not too long here. There is pleasure in the pathless woods. This is by George Gordon and Lord Byron. There is a pleasure in the pathless woods. There is a rapture on the lonely shore. There is society where none intrudes, by the deep sea and music in its roar. I love not the man the less. I love not man the less, but nature more. From these our interviews, in which I steal from all I may be or have been before, to mingle with the universe and feel what I can ne'er express, yet cannot all conceal. This one's got kind of a, let's see, what is our... Oh, yeah, this is one of the rhyme schemes that we talked about earlier. So this one is ABA. Oh, it's a little different. ABA, BBC, BCC. Kind of complicated, but you're starting to see you can make whatever rhyme with whatever. It kind of feels nice in your head to have things rhyming, maybe every other, or have sort of a general flow of the poem, but there's not a wrong way to rhyme a poem. You could do anything you want, which I love. I love about all of these poems is you can do a little bit of rhyme and then the rest you can call the X lines, right? They don't have to rhyme with anything at all. So now we could, if we wanted, write our own rhyming poem. I know you've got one started already, Dana. But my thought was, so I have a rhyming dictionary here, and sort of my way to give you some of the options that you'd need is I just wrote down some of the rhyming words here. And then you would just put those words at the end of your poem. But as if you'd like to participate in the activity, Terry, I know you don't have to, but if you want to, and there's a word scheme or some rhyming that you're needing help with as we do this, just ask and you can say, hey, I need words that rhyme with fright. And then I could give you a whole list of words because I got the book with all the info. So, but these are some fun words. You could even make like a poem that, even four lines long. So that again would be a quatrain. And then just find, squash and wash could be on lines 1 and 3, and then meter and liter on 3 and 4, and that would be a rhyming poem. So just to give a couple different ideas here. So I thought I'd give us about 5 or so minutes and see what we all come up with as far as a rhyming poem, if you'd like. If that's not of interest to you, by all means, feel free to write a free verse or not write at all. However you'd like to do. This was just kind of a fun activity for us,
So
in
what
case
word
you want to
rhymes with
participate.
comfortable?
So anything ending in A-B-L-E. Let me see what
Okay.
I can get you. There's lots of those. A-B-L-E. I like where you're thinking there, Jana. A-B.
Oh. Habitable.
That one? I've got a bunch for you. Are you
Okay,
ready?
yeah,
I'll go slow in case you want to write them or just tell me to slow down.
okay.
So cable,
Cable,
fable, gable, label, Mabel, as in the word, like a name, sable, like the animal, stable, and table. I've also got some other ones that are all kind of versions of the word table, but it's like times table, round table, turntable, unable. Did that give you any good ideas,
yes.
Jana?
I like the word stable. That goes with my walking. I gotta be more stable.
Oh, perfect, perfect, perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else you want me to look up? Do you want me to look up any rhyming words for you, Terry?
No, I'm just trying to think of, you know, what I might
Yeah.
talk about, what theme I might want to talk about.
Perfect, perfect. Well, I'll give you all a couple minutes. I'll give you about 5 minutes or so, but feel free to speak up or if you've got questions or want me to help you with something rhyming wise, I'm happy to do that for you. But
Thank
I'll
you.
give you about 5 minutes.
All right, thanks.
are you doing, you guys?
I think I got mine done.
Yeah. How are you doing, Terry? I see you're in the throes of it. You got a good poem going, I can tell.
I think I need another minute.
Yeah, I'll give you more time.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Some good work there, I could tell. Thank you so much. Does anybody want to share a poem? I can share mine if you prefer.
I'll I'll read my additions to my poem, okay?
I love it.
Dana's dream. I have a dream of walking right. I practice my therapy both day and night. I got new skinny shoes to hold my brace. The cramming of my right toes in them hasn't been met with grace. They spasm and throb. Their new home for them is not giving them an easy job. My therapy is making them more comfortable, and my steps are becoming more stable. I still need to practice my therapy day and night to improve my walking so my steps can do their tucking.
I love that. That's such a great end to your poem. Beautiful job, Dana. I
Dana, that's
see it's like growing every week. It grows a little.
good job. Love it.
Sorry, Justin, I didn't mean to cut you up.
Oh, no, I was just agreeing. That was super good.
I know it's so good.
Yay.
Anyone else care to share?
Terry, let's hear yours.
Okay, thanks for sharing, Dana. That was really good. Mine's just 4 lines. Today I am staying at home, wishing to create a new poem. Sitting in class online, finding joy in playing with rhyme.
I love that. That's beautiful, sweet, to the point. And it also, it seems like if you wanted to make it longer, you could too. You could go on, or keep it as short and sweet as it is right now. Beautiful. Good job, Terry. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay,
I have.
I'll go for it.
I've never really participated, but I did this time. Okay. Mine's only 4 lines as well. Um, the moonlight shimmers on the sea, a secret song it hums to me. The stars all twinkle in the sky. They wink, they sparkle, then drift by.
Oh, I love that. That's so sweet. I'm totally getting the pictures in my head. That was a really great poem. Thanks for sharing that, Jake, Justin. Sorry, I almost called you my boss's name. Blah.
My second.
Okay, I have one to share.
Okay.
Okay, it's not too long. And it's funny because I use some of the same kind of words as Justin did. When I yearn to be free, I usually go to sit by the sea. And there it seems I seem to find a good spot for me to unwind and sit and have myself a think and dream all day, yet without a wink of sleep, you see, for in case you know, the mind is happiest when there's room to grow.
That's good.
Thanks.
Love it.
I might have to tweak that one a little bit later.
Very
Okay.
nice. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so does anyone have, I know we kind of ran long on time here. Did anybody have any questions for me? Any comments, concerns, things you'd like for me to do in the future? Or I'm taking any helpful suggestion or any kind of time of day or anything at all.
Yeah, Sai is very talented, and we're gonna keep her around for the future. But like even teaching, and we'll put this out to the bigger group as well. A lot of people emailed me and said they couldn't come for different reasons, but I'm gonna send this out to them. But really, she's a jack of all trades, Jacqueline of all trades or something. You can teach anything. So
Yeah, yeah. I
I'm
love it
really
all.
in your cooking suggestion there. I know.
Sure.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that too.
Yeah, you are a really good, amazing cook. I've had your food. So
Oh, you're sweet. You're sweet.
just say like what you cook is really amazing. So
Yeah, I would love that. That's one of my big hobbies. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Terry. I thought you had a question. Was that what you were going to say or
Um,
something else?
yeah, I was just curious, about cooking because I'm I'm sensitive to different foods, so I'm gluten and dairy free. So I have a pretty
Okay.
hard time finding stuff in the store that's tasty or feels good or that is easy to swallow or whatever, chew or
Yeah,
swallow. So I was just curious, if you have anything more simple, simple ways that I could do some things on my own and get.
absolutely. We could actually form a class around that very idea. I've done lots of gluten-free, dairy-free, and in some cases vegan cooking, as Justin knows as well. So I would love to do that. And especially on account of you've got some dietary, restrictions. I love a challenge. So yeah, we could absolutely do that. I'm writing it down right now, but maybe something focused on gluten-free and dairy-free.
and I would,
Uh,
I'm gluten-free and dairy-free as well, Terry, and I get that, and I think it's so that would be a great class to form because I think a lot of people have dairy dietary restrictions, and it's very hard to go to the store and know what to buy and know what to.
hmm
I mean, I know it gets difficult for me, so
Yeah.
love that idea.
Shoot, I've only just started having trouble with dairy, but wow, do I have trouble with dairy. So I hear you on that too.
Yes.
I mean, it's good to have different options, things you can do. I mean, making risotto without any dairy. That's something I've done. It's possible and it's delicious. A little nutritional yeast in there, boom, you just never miss any meat or gluten or dairy at all, actually. So yeah. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for that suggestion, Terry. Let's make sure we do that. One, and if not next week, then maybe, or next month, then the one after that for sure.
Thank you.
Perfect. Any other comments, questions, concerns?
Just it was fun. I haven't done poetry since I was in maybe elementary school.
Me
And my
too.
my younger brother loves to send me birthday cards with poems in them, poetry in them. And his usually very humorous kind of, poems, probably more closer to limerick kind of things. And I never can respond, and I bet he would love it if I did his next birthday card, in poetry. So this is fun. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's its own sort of gift, right, Terry, to give someone a birthday card with a poem that they came up with on it. I think that's just beautiful.